Hey everyone, Jordan here from It's On Fitness, and today we're going to be talking about whether we really need protein supplements. Okay, protein powders and protein bars, do we really need them? First thing we want to look at in this topic is how much protein do we actually need per day? And this of course varies from person to person based on a few different factors that I can talk about shortly. But when we look at the baseline UK guidelines from places like NHS and things, they're talking about the average, mainly sedentary person, but they recommend 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight per day for protein. So they give rough numbers on this. So for men, it's about 55 grams, and for women, 45 grams. Now, certain studies and things have shown that if you are regularly quite active, you might want to look at upping that. So for example, it's suggested maybe for endurance training to go for about 1.4 to 1.6 grams per kilogram if you're regularly, say, endurance training. And then if you're regularly strength training, it goes up even a little bit more to 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram. So now these are not numbers I'm telling you definitely need, and that is what's going to be right for you. So they give them in guidelines and they give them in boundaries, and obviously science is always kind of evolving and more studies are always being done, so it's always good to look into things yourself. So now let's look into how these things might fit into that diet and what other foods and things also contain protein that we could use instead. Now, a typical chicken breast contains about 30 to 35 grams of protein. So that is like way over half of those baseline, NHS sedentary person guidelines. So, and a pot of fat-free Greek yogurt is about 7 to 10 grams, like for a serving, I mean. And an egg is about 7 grams. So if you've managed to fit all of those in your day, which you probably would without even noticing, then you've pretty much hit those baseline guidelines. So if you're not particularly active, you're not really regularly into training, then I'm going to say that you probably really don't need things like this to help you hit those goals. And so going up from there, going up to those higher protein values. Now, when you calculate it for yourself, you might find that that number is quite high. So for example, if you choose to think that you want to intake a higher amount of protein, so you might be strength training, you might weigh say 80 kilograms, and you want to do strength training, you've decided to go for 2 grams of protein per kilogram. So that's going to take you to like about 160 grams. Now that is about triple what they are suggesting for the average man, the average sedentary man. So now the numbers of protein are getting a little bit higher, and of course you can get it through foods because there are loads and loads of different high protein foods that you can put into your diet, and these are not like magic powders or magic bars. They are literally just filled with extra protein or protein in a powdered form. So it's not like these are better for you than other sources of protein, such as, the chicken breasts, the yogurts, the eggs. I say they haven't got magical properties. They're just different versions of protein, effectively. Or not different versions, just different formats of taking protein. So you might choose to get it through your food, and if you're clever with it, if you do a little bit of pre-planning, you'll probably manage to hit those values without any kind of supplementation. However, if you find that you are just consistently eating the same foods and you're getting bored of them, or you have to keep eating, full meals, like you might not want to have breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then your snacks are like chicken breast or a couple of boiled eggs or more yogurt if you've already had some with your breakfast. And yeah, you might be getting a bit bored of having the same high protein foods over and over again. or you might be limited in the high protein foods that you enjoy or choose to take. For example, if you're vegetarian or vegan. Vegetarian and vegans can still hit high protein goals, I say, if they're clever with their food and they're choosing the really high protein, a really high protein food substance food with each of their meals and in snacks. However, again, you might be struggling with just finding that you're eating the same things over and over again, or you might not like a lot of the, you know, vegetarian or vegan meat substitutes and things like that, which might be making it a little bit difficult for you to hit those values that you want to hit. So this is when these type of things then come in. These can be really good for convenience. So as I'm saying, if you don't want to keep eating more meals like with high protein foods in them, just mixing some of this in with your yogurt will take it up that next level in protein. Similarly, if you're like me and you have quite a sweet tooth, things like all of the different varieties of protein bars can just be a bit of fun in your day and can mean you have maybe a slightly more nutritious snack. Or often a lot of these are check that you don't want to be sold by just branding and marketing and things, but a lot of these bars are like lower in sugar, or they try to have some added vitamins or minerals or fibre, etc. So they might be better for you than just the standard chocolate bar you might have eaten otherwise, and they contribute to your goals a little bit more than that as well, if you are trying to get a high level of protein. Though I said about protein powders and things not being magical substances, because they're not, they won't make you magically gain muscle if you take them. You need to be doing working out, and then they will only be effective up to the appropriate levels for your body. They often are, or many are manufactured to be complete protein sources. So by a complete protein source, what I mean is it's one that contains all of the essential amino acids and everything that your body needs. And a lot of foods, a lot of high protein foods, especially from animal sources, are complete proteins. But when you come into maybe like vegetarian or vegan, some of those alternatives might not quite be complete protein sources, so you need to just be a little bit more clever with researching which ones contain which amino acids to make sure you're getting all of them. So that is somewhere where these can come in helpful for some people as well, in making sure you're getting some complete proteins in there. So for example, if you are vegan, soya is a complete protein. But if you don't like a lot of the soy alternatives, or like meat alternatives and things, they're not something you enjoy eating, then it might again just reduce down the amount of complete proteins you can just have. So as I say, you have to get clever with mixing those ones to make up complete proteins, so eating things that might have some but not others, and then vice versa. But you could buy yourself some soy protein powder and pop that in like a fruit smoothie or something like that, and then you won't really notice the taste, but you'll be getting that complete protein. You do not want to be having these excessively. Like if you're having like 3 of these a day, you probably want to look at your diet, and you probably want to just try and actually get in some more just whole food sources of protein and just nutrients for yourself as well. Similarly, if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, or you have any kind of kidney problems or other health problems, you want to be careful with these kind of things. You would want to ask a doctor before you start taking any of those. Just get the A-OK. I say these aren't necessarily toxic or bad for you or really overly artificial or things like that. Some of them are even quite natural, but you still just want to get those things checked out. And similarly, seeing as we're talking about those who train regularly, needing a higher amount of protein potentially, athletes, a lot of brands of proteins, powders and protein bars are kind of like sports certified. So for example, this one has the little informed sport, where is it? Here we go. The little informed sport logo on it. I'm not sure how well that's showing up, but yeah. Anyway, you want to check if you're buying and consuming these kind of things as an athlete, especially if you are, you know, doing drug tests, you want to make sure that they don't contain any banned substances. So again, that's not saying these are necessarily unsafe, but, you know, some regular just pharmacy, you know, headache tablets and things can contain banned substances. So you just want to check that anything you're on taking is not going to affect your goals in that way. In summary, no, we do not need protein powders and protein bars. You can get everything you need from your diet. However, they shouldn't be something that you necessarily try to avoid at all costs or see as terrible, as they might help you with like just convenience of getting in the amount of protein that you need, and just enjoyment as well, breaking up any kind of monotony you might feel around just keep eating similar meals to try and get the right amount of protein. So no, they're not a need, but they might be a want, and you can experiment and see how they work for you. Thank you for watching. I hope it helped, or I hope you found it interesting, and see you in another video soon. Bye.